We are going to discuss bar graphs, primarily histograms, as well as Pareto charts. Let's first look at the features of a bar graph before we work on how to create these graphs in Excel. And I'm already in Excel, and these are the examples. First of all, bars can be vertical or horizontal. These two here have vertical bars, and this one right here has horizontal bars. The bars are uniform in width and are uniform in spacing, as you can see here. The lengths of the bars, that would be from here to here, the lengths of the bars represent values of the variable being displayed, or the frequency of occurrence, or the percentage of occurrence. The same measurement scale is used for the length of each bar. And as you can see, this already tells you that these are frequencies. The graph is well annotated with titles, labels for each bar, and so forth and so on. Now, I only did it on one just so that you could see that I did label it. And that's pretty much what the features of a bar graph are. This is an FYI. What does that squiggle on the graph mean? Do you see it right here? What is that squiggle? Whenever you change the scale in a graph, you use the squiggle on the axis you have adjusted. We have adjusted the y-axis. Notice that in the original graph it's from 0 to 100, but notice that the blue colored column is that represents the life expectancy of men. The purple represents the women. But we condensed it so that you could get a better view of what it looks like, the differences between male and female. So we kind of scrunched it, or just what we do is compress it. It kind of helps you see this visually, and that's pretty much what that little squiggle is. So whenever you see that, you know that the data is still the same, we just compressed it. Let me show you what a Pareto chart is before we start working on how to create a histogram or a Pareto chart on an Excel spreadsheet. This right here is a Pareto chart. It is a bar graph in which the bar height represents the frequency, and we already know this is the frequency of an event. Also, the bars are arranged from left to right according to the decreasing height. So the largest frequency value starts here, and then it goes down. And as you can see, that's what a Pareto chart looks like. Okay. These are the instructions on how to create a histogram in Excel. You can find this on slide 5 of the Chapter 2 PDF file in the reading section in Blackboard. Okay, I just wanted you to see what it looks like, so I'll go ahead and get rid of it. I'm going to use the data we discussed from the previous problem that is on page 52, problem number 13. And if you recall, this is the table that we used. And just to help you remember, this set of class limits represents the time in months for a tumor to reoccur in patients. These frequency values right here represents the number of people that have had tumors reoccur within these time frames. In other words, 1 to 12 represents 1 to 12 months, 13 to 24 represents 13 months to 24 months. Okay, so I just wanted you to see that so that you can see what we're going to do. The first step in creating a histogram is to determine the class limits and frequencies for your data. That has already been done. Now all we have to do is take these values and the frequency values and put them in a column. And I have done that. All right, so the first column are the class limits. All right, and that's the 1 to 12 months, 13 to 24 months. And the frequency is right here. Now, once you get this is the next step. We are going to highlight both columns. You're going to take this, click on it, but you got to move over to the right and highlight the 6 with the class limits and then scroll down. Now, you need to know that the first column represents your x-axis. The second column represents your y-axis. That's why they need to be side by side so that you can include them together. Notice this is already highlighted. Now the next step says to click the Insert tab at the top. I can click Insert and then choose Chart, but I already have a Chart tab here, at least on my Excel, so I will click on it. Then I'm going to choose Column, open that up, and choose two-dimensional column, the clustered column. As soon as you do that, it automatically creates your chart. It creates a bar graph. Remember, a histogram, the bars, there should be no gap. For right now, I just want to go ahead and follow the instructions, and we will hit Series 1 right here. I clicked on it just to delete it. So hit the delete button on your keyboard. Now, just because it's me, I'm going to click on the bars because I want to put titles in there. So I click the bar. Any bar, doesn't matter. It'll click all of them. And then I'm going to hit Chart Layout and go to Axis Title. I will do the horizontal axis title first, and then I want my title to be below the axis. It pops up, and I highlight this, and you may just be able to type into it. And I will just say time, months, tumor, recurrence. Okay, that's that. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here and go back to Chart Layout, Axis Title, Vertical Axis. I like to use Rotated Title, and you'll see what that means. And then just start and just type it, frequency. Okay, I'm going to click out of it. All right, now this is just a good old-fashioned bar graph. Now, to make a histogram, click back on one of the bars, right mouse click, scroll down to Format Data Series. It should pop up to options where you will see this over here where it says overlap and gap width. We are going to change the gap width to 0. And then we're going to go over to, before we hit OK, we are going to go over to line. And then we're going to take the color, open this up, choose black, and then hit OK. Now I'm going to click out of it, and there you are. Now you can see the histogram. That's your histogram. Okay, let's do problem number 7 on page 61. It's not an easy life, but it's a good life. Suppose you decide to take the summer off and sign on as a deckhand for a commercial fishing boat in Alaska that specializes in deep water fishing for groundfish. What kind of fish can you expect to catch? One way to answer this question is to examine government reports on groundfish caught in the Gulf of Alaska. The following list indicates the types of fish caught annually in thousands of metric tons. So you see flatfish is 36.3, Pacific cod is 68.6, and remember that these are all in thousands of metric tons. Okay, so the first step to do is to put this in columns, and that's what we're about to do. I have already done that. I have flatfish, 36.3. I kind of typed this in just so that I can keep up with it. The first thing you have to remember is that Pareto charts go from descending order, the largest value to the smallest value. In order to do that, you don't click on the first column. Remember, the first column is your x-axis, the second column is your y-axis. So I have to click on here first, and then drag over to the left and then scroll down. And that way when I choose my sort, it will keep the two columns together. So I choose descending. It's already highlighted once it's been sorted from descending order. Then all you have to do is go to your charts, go to the column, check two-dimensional column, clustered column, and there it is. The rest you can just go ahead and do as you please, type in the titles and so forth and so on, and that's it. That's how you do those problems. Now, your problem that you have to do is number 5 on page 61, and I believe it's just a bar graph. But you can still play around with the Pareto charts or even a histogram with this problem. Thank you.